Hi, I'm Jim, your YouTube Elmer for Ham Radio Basics. Welcome to my new radio room here in Rocklin, California. And it is new and just about done. I'm going to shoot some video in a little while after I tidy up a few things. I've torn up some stuff to shoot some videos of a oscilloscope. Speaking of the oscilloscope, in the last couple of years, I've spent some time with guys whose signal on SSB was distorted, and in most cases, pretty badly distorted. I'd like to share with you what I've learned and some ideas about how you might want to set the mic gain on your transceiver. Stand by, I'll be right back after this message.
California, Whiskey 6 Lima Golf. Whiskey 6 Lima Golf calling, CQ, hello, CQ. CQ calling, CQ, hello, CQ.
What I did learn in talking to a lot of guys was that they simply didn't know how to set the mic gain, and the reason for that was a misinterpretation of the instruction book, if they did look at it at all. And it's understandable. In particular, I've heard a number of Icom IC-7300s that had really good audio. I mean, it's a tremendous transceiver. Then there's been some others whose audio with a 7300 sounded just dreadful. Using the same transceiver, the stock microphone. The difference was the setting and the settings of the mic gain and the understanding of how that all works. So what I'd like to do is go to a PDF file that I'm just now downloading from Icom and go through the settings, what they recommend for setting the mic gain on the 7300 and how you might want to do it. And there's a couple things to keep in mind. One, it is a gain control, and it can go, if you turn it up too high, it's going to distort. So the audio will exceed the ability of the next stage to handle it. It clips the audio. That produces harmonics in the passband of the audio. That is to say, if the audio isn't adjusted correctly, if the mic gain is up too high, let's say you transmitted just a tone at 1 kilohertz, it would have a harmonic at 2 kilohertz, another harmonic at 4 kilohertz. The voice is pretty complex, so there's lots of different frequencies in it. But fair to say, there would be tons of harmonics, and it begins to sound really pretty awful, and it looks pretty awful, and I'll show you that on my oscilloscope here in just a minute. So let's go look at the instruction book for the 7300. I haven't read it yet, and see what it says for setting the mic gain. And then let's take a look at the pan adapter that I have and see what happens when I run the mic gain up and I turn the compression up. One thing to note is, does the output increase as I run up the mic gain? No. Does the signal become more easily understood on the other side of the planet if I run the mic gain all the way up? No. So let's look at the instruction book. Let's do that next. I'll bring that up on the screen now, and then we'll go and see the oscilloscope. And I won't spend a lot of time on the scope, but I think you'll literally get the picture. So here goes the instruction book for the Icom 7300, and it's pretty typical, I think, of what Icom has written in most of their manuals. So I've downloaded the Icom 7300. That's probably the most popular transceiver ever. And let's see what it says. First, we got to find it. Table of contents are, here we go. Receiving and transmitting, attenuator, noise blanker. I don't say anything that says mic gain. Monitor setting the speech processor 4-9. That's probably pretty close. So let's go there first and see what that says. Oh, here we go. Is adjusting the microphone gain. Oh, and over here it says meter display. Perfect. This is great. Probably the most important function, meter function, is the ALC, and it's probably the one that frankly never gets looked at. So as part of the multifunction meter, hold down the parameter for 1 second to display the multifunction meter, and here's the ALC indication. And what you want to do is to keep your audio in the lower end of this range. And let's see what the instruction book says about that. It says adjusting the microphone gain. Adjust the microphone gain as described below. Set the mode to SSB, AM, or FM, multifunction menu, touch the mic gain, go into transmit, rotate until you get to mic gain. Now, here it's showing 50%. Are they saying to set the mic gain to 50%? Doesn't look like it. What it says is, in the SSB mode, touch the transmit meter to select ALC. And adjust the meter reading so that it swings between 30 and 50%. Not full scale, not all the way up, kind of where that arrow is, or less. Hold the microphone about 2 to 4 inches from your mouth, and that is really good advice. 2 to 4 inches is the way you should hold it. Otherwise, you have room echo. So they're saying adjust the mic gain until it indicates between 30 and 50%, not 100%, not 150%, but 30 to 50. And as I found out over the years, that's very good advice. So let's go do some tests using a spectrum analyzer and see what happens when we turn the mic gain above 50%. And for that matter, although it sounds impossible, about above 100%. And what happens to the bandwidth and what happens to harmonics within the passband? And the answer is it gets to be pretty ugly. So let's go look at the pan adapter next, and I'll bring that up on the screen. I've put up markers to indicate 14200, which is the center frequency. The rightmost vertical line is 14210, and to the left 14190. So each of these vertical lines is about 2 kilohertz. And I'm counting into the microphone 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And you can see that it's mostly contained within about 3 to 4 kilohertz. I've got the mic gain coming up, so now I'm starting to push the limits of the ALC. And what happens is it gets to be really pretty dirty looking. For example, here, now I've got the compression up and the mic gain up. And there's stuff down here at 14196 and stuff up here to about 14210. Pretty broad signal, pretty nasty looking. Compression all the way up, mic gain all the way up, and this is 14210. You can see there's stuff above 14210 down to 14190, and at round numbers, again, it's not a precision device. At minus 40 dB, it's 6 kilohertz wide. Signal. And later I really cranked up the mic gain, and here's a good example. This is all knobs to the right, and I'm sure the watt meter is indicating a higher power output, but it's really not there. It's just stuff like this. So here you go. Here's the signal with, again, mic gain and compression up, and you can see how the compressor is trying to bring all of the lower volume portions of the audio up, and it does a pretty good job of doing that. And the result is it's just awful. All right, that was interesting for me to make, and I was surprised about how broad I could get the K3 to, considering that the filters in the K3 are really good. By running up the mic gain, it became really broad. I have several videos in the works, a couple about the station and several about antennas over the next several weeks, and we'll hopefully get those done, and some of those done in the next couple of days. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe. We would like to build this subscriber base to 50,000 if we can, and that's our goal. 7-3 from your YouTube Elmer, Jim W6LG. See you the next time. 7-3.